5 100% real strange things in Italy. The only boot-shaped country that will shock you. Hello, and welcome to the Discovery Fact Channel. Hey everyone, when you think of Italy, what's the very first thing that pops into your mind? Long strands of spaghetti stretching like electrical wires? Gooey cheese pizza with poles so long your arm gets tired? Or the glamorous fashion capital of Milan with some of the most luxurious runways on the planet? Well, most of us probably picture an elegant, historic Italy. A country filled with UNESCO World Heritage Sites, where every step runs into history and every turn leads you straight into art. Just thinking about it, you can almost feel that air of sophistication, right? But wait, hold on for just 2 seconds. If Italy were only that, I wouldn't need to be here making this video today. Because hidden behind that romantic exterior is a whole universe of strange things that will leave you wide-eyed asking, wait, seriously? From laws that sound like jokes but are absolutely real, to strict regulations where one small mistake can easily get you fined. And that's not all. There are also unique cultural quirks that will have you nodding and saying, wow, that really only happens in Italy. So what exactly is so unusual and different about Italy? Are these charming eccentricities, or the kind of things that make international travelers freeze in shock for a few seconds? Alright, no more rambling. Pull up a chair, sit tight, and get ready to broaden your horizons in today's video. 5 strange and hard to believe things that only exist in Italy, starting right now. The Island of Death, cursed with tragedy in the Bay of Naples. Does every owner meet a grim fate? Amid the crystal blue waters of the Bay of Naples lies a small island that looks almost unbelievably picturesque at first glance. Golden sunlight washes over an old villa, and a curved stone bridge connects 2 tiny strips of land as if lifted straight from a fairy tale. But behind that beauty is a chain of stories that send chills down your spine. This is Gioia Island, located just off the coast of Naples, Italy. At first glance, Gioia covers only about 104 acres. It consists of 2 small islets positioned side by side, linked by a slender bridge so delicate that many people mistake it for a natural rock arch. There is only one villa on the island, standing quietly and facing the sea. Up to this point, it sounds like the perfect retreat. Morning coffee while watching the waves, afternoon walks around sea caves, and evenings relaxing to the sound of the ocean breeze. But as we all know, life isn't always like a dream. Originally, the island was called Euplea, named after a deity who protected sailors. Later, it was renamed Gioia, meaning small cave, because of the many natural grottos scattered across the island. The site also contains remnants of a temple dedicated to Venus and numerous Roman ruins submerged beneath the water. There is even a legend claiming that the poet Virgil once set foot here to teach. A place blessed with natural beauty and rich historical depth like this should have been a dream destination, right? That's what everyone would think. Yet starting in the 19th century, strange events began to unfold. The owners of the island's villa repeatedly met tragic fates. Many deaths occurred under mysterious circumstances, leading locals to whisper about a curse. In the 1920s, Hans Braun, a Swiss owner, purchased the villa. Not long afterward, he was found murdered, his body wrapped in a rug. Just a few months later, his wife drowned at sea. By now, you're probably starting to feel that something isn't right. Then came Otto Grunbach, a German owner who died of a heart attack. Morik Yves Sandoz later took his own life in a psychiatric hospital. The famous Fiat tycoon Gianni Agnelli, after owning the island, faced a series of devastating family tragedies. His son died by suicide, and his grandson passed away from a rare form of cancer. Billionaire J. Paul Getty experienced the kidnapping of his grandson. The island's last private owner, Gianpasquale Grappone, ended up imprisoned after his company went bankrupt. Coincidence? Or is there truly some unseen force hanging over this place? To this day, that question remains unanswered. What is known is that after these events, the villa was abandoned. No one has dared to move in despite the island's breathtaking scenery. What haunts people most is the contrast. On one side, blue seas, golden sunlight, and ancient ruins. On the other, a chain of tragedies spanning more than a century. What do you think? A real curse, or merely coincidences woven into legend over time? As for me, whether you believe in the curse or not, Gioia still lies there quietly in the Bay of Naples, hauntingly beautiful. And sometimes the most beautiful places are the very ones that hide stories that make us shudder. Spilling salt brings bad luck for the whole year. Have you ever been enjoying a nice meal, accidentally knocked over the salt shaker with a quick swipe, and suddenly felt your heart skip a beat? If not, stick with me and let's explore this one-of-a-kind Italian custom. In Italy, if you accidentally spill salt, people don't just flinch and move on. They immediately start worrying about their luck for the foreseeable future. Why? Because Italians believe that spilling salt is a bad omen, and not just mildly unlucky, but seriously unlucky. It may sound like simple superstition, but this belief actually dates back centuries in Italian history. In the past, salt in Italy wasn't cheap or common like it is today. It was extremely difficult to produce and incredibly valuable. At one point in history, salt was even used as a form of currency for trade. So spilling salt back then was basically like dropping money on the ground. Imagine living in a time when every grain of salt was as precious as gold. If someone accidentally spilled a handful of salt onto the dirt floor, that would have truly felt like throwing away hard-earned cash. Over time, the act became associated with waste, and waste became linked to misfortune. That belief has survived all the way to today, and that's not all. In Italy, even the way you pass a salt shaker at the dinner table matters. If someone asks you for the salt, you're not supposed to hand it directly from your hand to theirs. Sounds a little strange, right? Instead, you must place the salt shaker on the table, and the other person picks it up themselves. If you pass it hand to hand, Italians believe it could lead to tension or arguments between the two people later on. Yes. Even sitting down for a meal has its own proper procedure. Suddenly, a simple family dinner turns into a subtle coordination routine. Set it down, pick it up, absolutely no direct handoff. It may seem a bit elaborate, but for them, it's a way to preserve harmony and avoid bad luck. Isn't that fascinating? Just a tiny salt shaker, yet it carries an entire cultural story behind it. It makes you realize that many customs may sound unreasonable at first, but once you understand their origins, they make sense in their own way. And it's not just salt. Italians also believe that spilling olive oil brings similar bad luck. Olive oil is a cornerstone of their cuisine and symbolizes abundance and prosperity. Spilling oil is seen as spilling away the household's good fortune. So if you ever have the chance to share a meal with Italians, be mindful of your hands. Don't gesture too wildly, and don't casually pass the salt shaker directly just to save time. That way, the meal stays pleasant from start to finish, and no one leaves in a bad mood instead of a good one. On New Year's Eve, women must wear red underwear to attract good luck. You know, the world is incredibly diverse. Some New Year's traditions make you say, "Oh, that's cool," and want to try them right away. Others make you freeze for a few seconds and ask, "Wait, seriously?" A perfect example of that reaction is a New Year's tradition in Italy. In Italy, on New Year's Eve, as the clock approaches midnight and fireworks are about to light up the sky, everyone dresses elegantly. Hair is perfectly styled, outfits are polished, perfume is in the air. But the most important thing that night isn't the glamorous clothing you see on the outside. It's something much simpler that no one can see underneath. Yes, it's underwear, and it absolutely has to be bright red. Sounds a little mind-bending, right? But for Italians, this is no joke. At the exact moment the old year turns into the new one, both men and women choose to wear red underwear with a very clear belief. Red attracts good luck for the coming year. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't need fancy lace or silk. It only needs to meet one requirement. It has to be red. As long as it's red, you're good to go. Even if it's a little worn, that's fine. By now, some of you might be tempted to pause the video and ask, why red? Why not another color? And why underwear? Wouldn't wearing red on the outside work just as well? Well, according to long-standing tradition, red symbolizes energy, strength, and good fortune. It's bold and vibrant, like sending a message to the universe. The new year is here, and I'm ready to receive all the luck coming my way. As for why underwear instead of regular outer clothing, I'll admit I'm not entirely sure. I'll look into it more and maybe cover it in another video. Here's another fun fact. This tradition isn't just for women. Italian men take their red underwear very seriously too. So on the outside, they may be wearing a sharp black suit, but underneath, it's secretly bright red. Just imagining that is both funny and kind of adorable, isn't it? And here's something else interesting. This custom doesn't exist only in Italy. In several other Latin countries, people also wear special colored underwear on New Year's Eve. However, instead of red, they prefer yellow. And yellow isn't just for fun, it's believed to bring love and happiness in the coming year. See? It's still just underwear, but each place attaches a different wish to it. Some hope for luck and prosperity. Others wish for love and fulfillment. When you think about it, people everywhere are the same. Everyone hopes the new year will be better than the last. The only difference is how colorfully they express that hope. Imagine applying this tradition yourself. On New Year's Eve, the whole family gathers around the table, everyone dressed nicely and properly, but secretly wearing red underneath. It feels like a little private game that only you know about. Maybe next New Year's Eve you could quietly try this tradition and see whether good luck comes knocking at your door. The Snake Procession, the most goosebump-inducing festival in Italy. If one day you're traveling and suddenly see an entire village wearing snakes around their necks, wrapping them around their arms, even draping them all over a statue of a saint, don't panic and call for help just yet. Chances are, you're standing in the middle of one of Italy's most unique festivals, the Snake Festival in the small village of Coculo, located in the Abruzzo region. Coculo is normally a quiet village tucked among low hills, sparsely populated, and peaceful year-round. But on the first Thursday of May each year, the town completely transforms. Thousands of visitors from all over gather here, not for concerts or massive fireworks shows, but to witness with their own eyes snakes slithering everywhere during a sacred procession. The origins of this festival are tied to Saint Domenico, a saint believed to have healed many people from snake bites in the 11th century. For the people of Coculo, especially hunters and woodsmen who lived in areas filled with snakes, he became a protective figure. So beginning in 1392, they started holding an annual procession carrying a statue of Saint Domenico along with live snakes, praying for safety and protection from misfortune throughout the year. By now, you're probably feeling a little uneasy, right? But the real climax comes during the main part of the festival, which lasts about 90 minutes. The statue of Saint Domenico is carried out from the village's main church and paraded through the narrow streets. What gives visitors goosebumps is that locals drape the snakes they've captured from the forest all over the statue. Snakes coil around the statue's neck, slide across its arms, and even dangle across its chest. The people carrying the statue must carefully prevent the snakes from falling because they believe that would be a bad omen. Imagine standing in the crowd surrounded by cheers and festival music while dozens of snakes slither back and forth right in front of you. Would your heart race? Would your legs shake? Most likely yes. Yet for the people of Coculo, this is a sacred and lucky image. Of course, most of the snakes used are non-venomous. If any venomous ones are caught, they are handled in advance to ensure there is no safety risk. Snake catching begins around March and is carried out by experienced locals known as serpari. They capture the snakes carefully, and after the festival, all of them are released back into the wild, symbolizing the belief that the snakes will continue to protect the village. Some years, the number of snakes isn't very high. For example, in 2018, only 92 adult snakes were captured. But that doesn't lessen the excitement. Elderly residents, children, and young adults alike are remarkably comfortable around them. They casually stroke the snakes or wear them around their necks like a special kind of scarf. Some even encourage reporters to try wearing a snake for good luck, just to experience the feeling. The procession concludes with a brilliant fireworks display, closing a day that is both sacred and heart-pounding. To this day, the Snake Festival in Coculo is considered one of the strangest festivals in the boot-shaped country. If you ever have the chance to stand in Coculo on that special day, be brave and try draping a snake over your shoulders for good luck. It may look scary, but it's actually a fascinating experience. Maggot cheese and cow stomach sandwiches. Delicacies that challenge anyone's courage when visiting Italy. Some dishes look delicious at first glance. Others make you take a deep breath just to steady yourself. To prove that point, we have to mention two true culinary warriors from Italy, a country famous not only for pizza and pasta, but also for dishes that make visitors wonder, should I really try this? First up is a name that alone might give you chills: maggot cheese. Its official name is casu marzu, a special variation of pecorino cheese made from sheep's milk. The production process sounds similar to other cheeses at first, but the key difference is this. The cheese is intentionally left in an environment where flies can lay eggs, which then hatch into larvae inside the cheese. Yes, live maggots, wriggling and gently squirming right on the surface. And it's precisely these uninvited guests that create the strong aroma and ultra-soft texture that many food enthusiasts absolutely love. By now, you're probably feeling a little uneasy, maybe even frowning. But for fans of the dish, this is considered the ultimate expression of uniqueness. However, due to food safety concerns, this cheese has been banned from production by European food safety authorities. But as you know, the more something is prohibited, the more curiosity it sparks. As a result, casu marzu began appearing on the black market, sold at prices double those of regular pecorino. Perhaps that sense of eating in suspense is part of what makes it so expensive. Imagine holding a piece of cheese and, before even tasting it, seeing tiny larvae moving across it. Regardless of the flavor, the image alone is enough to make many people respectfully bow out. Yet others consider it the most unforgettable culinary experience of their lives. And if you think maggot cheese is the ultimate limit, not quite. Italy also has another street food that surprises many visitors, the lampredotto sandwich. On the outside, it looks like an ordinary meat sandwich, fragrant, warm, and tempting. But the filling is where things get interesting. Lampredotto is made from the lining of the fourth stomach of a calf about 18 months old. Just hearing that might make your head spin a little, right? After being thoroughly cleaned, the stomach lining is slowly simmered with tomatoes, onions, celery, and seasonings until tender. When placed inside bread, vendors drizzle it with a rich, flavorful sauce that makes it look just like any other delicious street food. The thing is, if you didn't know the ingredients, you might eat it happily. But once you realize you're biting into cow's stomach, your feelings might instantly change. That's the fascinating thing about food. Sometimes the line between absolutely delicious and slightly terrifying is just one small piece of information. Looking at the bigger picture, dishes like these show that Italian cuisine isn't just refined. It's bold. Nothing goes to waste. They create specialties from parts many people wouldn't even consider, turning them into local delicacies. So if you were standing in front of two choices, a rich piece of maggot cheese or a hot cow stomach sandwich, which one would you dare to try? Or would you rather just watch someone else eat it to be safe? As for me, I've been to Italy, and honestly, I could only shake my head in hesitation. I didn't dare touch either one. As you can see, Italy doesn't attract visitors only because of its ancient landmarks, romantic piazzas, or picture-perfect scenery, but also because of countless cultural stories that stay with you long after you hear them. Every year, millions of tourists come here to check in, eat pizza, and admire the Roman Colosseum. But not everyone knows the fascinating, and sometimes slightly mind-bending, unwritten rules we've just explored, right? When you travel, it's not just about what to eat, where to stay, or what places to visit. Understanding a bit about local customs makes the trip even more complete, doesn't it? Who knows? Remembering a few of those small details might help you avoid an awkward or embarrassing situation, and at the same time give you a great story to tell later. And if one day you set foot in Italy, don't just pack your suitcase with clothes. Bring your curiosity and a spirit of adventure with you as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming discoveries. For now, goodbye, and see you in the next video.